Hello and welcome to another edition of our podcast, Recycle, Don't Be a Waster. And for regular listeners, you'll know that we cover all things recycling related. Today is the second week of 2022, and I hope you had some New Year's resolutions related to recycling. So I think in today's podcast, we want to make those resolutions a bit easier for you and give you, two or three locations or solutions for tricky recycling that should help nearly anybody in Australia. And I assume if you're overseas in other countries, you will have similar or equivalent opportunities in most major cities. So today's podcast is about let's say three destinations, three places that you, a residential or household, can recycle tricky items, and you should be aware of these to boost your recycling rates. This assumes that you have the standard bins, at your house, the cardboard bin, the commingled bin for bottles and cans, and of course your general waste bin. So what we'll do is we'll give you what I think are three great options for those trickier things. The first one is called Red Cycle. Red Cycle is a company that focuses, it's basically charitable based to my understanding, non-profitable, that focuses on recycling soft plastic. So soft plastics are plastic bags, plastic wrap, crisp packets, those sort of things, packets for food, those soft plastics that you cannot put in your commingle bin. And so fundamentally, if you don't put them here, they'll end up in landfill. So this you can drop them off for free at most major supermarkets. I know they are at Woolworths and Kohls. I think they also are at most IGAs, but you would probably need to check your local store. They often have a facility or a location at the front of the store, just as you turn in the door, and you'll see lots of plastic bags and items such as that piled up. So what do they do with these materials? I think if you'd listened to one of our previous podcasts, you will know that plastics can only be recycled so many times. And once they get, lower grade, they tend to be made into lower and lower quality products. This is the case for plastic bags, soft plastics, dark plastic wrap. And Red Cycle, it makes items such as flooring for parks, to stop kids hurting their knees if they fall, park furniture like park benches, and those sort of items. So reasonably low grade plastic, but at the same time still creating useful items and preventing this material from going to landfill. So I think that's the first one. And these solutions also at Waester, we every day get many requests, queries about standard, these sort of, where can I put this, where can I put that? And we probably recommend Red Cycle to people at least once a day. So this is one to remember. The second one I will say is Officeworks. So anyone in Australia will almost certainly have an Officeworks location nearby. Of course, the major business, office retailer selling all items associated with an office. And they collect a very wide range of e-waste, electronic waste, and associated items. And you can drop them off for free, generally at the front of the store. These items cover, laptops, computers, cabling, in some instances CDs and VHS, not in all, but in some instances, telephones, mobile phones, all those sort of items. And these items will be taken for e-recycling, whereby the valuable materials, the metals, etc., are taken out. So again, a really useful service, and it. Let's be honest, I think the vast majority of Australians live in towns and cities, and I think Officeworks would probably be within 10 kilometres of let's just say 90% of the Aussie population. So it's a great option, and generally a lot easier than going to a waste transfer centre. Certainly a lot less smelly and quite easy to drop off. So another great option. At those locations, you can also generally drop off batteries. Those batteries that are probably now running out from the gadgets that Santa delivered a few weeks ago. So you can drop off batteries. You can also drop the batteries off at Aldi, I believe, who also offer a similar service. So many of these drop-off points are related to companies such as, or it's a business recycling, Planet Arc, which is a semi-government backed organisation that helps coordinate recycling with producer pays systems as well, whereby some producers will help pay for the recycling. So it's a bit of a related product, but that's a great option. The third one I'll mention is one, and I'll be honest, I think we should dig into it a bit more in a future podcast, and that is at 7-Eleven. So 7-Eleven, who run obviously convenience stores and many service stations, gas stations throughout Australia. You will, in recent times, I've seen that you can drop off takeaway coffee cups. Takeaway coffee cups have a terrible reputation, and in very many instances they are not recycled. But I note that at 7-Eleven they are collecting coffee cups and you can drop them there for free, and they are supposedly recycled. I'll be honest, I will probably look into this more and do a future podcast, because last time I looked, it is not that easy to recycle coffee cups due to the combination of different materials and all that sort of stuff. So look, I like to, before I recommend stuff, I like to know how it works, how it's processed, and so I look into that. But I think it's certainly better than putting it in landfill. And until we look into it and do a future podcast on it, I think we'll say, be aware that option is there. There doesn't seem to be any restriction on the brands or the type of coffee cup. These are the takeaway, convenience cups, one use. So clearly using these is still a worse option than, relaxing, sitting down, having an actual cup of coffee in a porcelain cup or whatever it is. Clearly that's the best option. Secondly, bring, a reusable cup with you. And those are clearly better options. But in the instance where you do get that takeaway cup, look into this. So those are the three things I'd recommend to you. I think they are all at major retailers. Retail chains that will probably be within easy reach of the vast majority of our listeners. So I think, everyone has some waste of that nature, so keep it in mind, or maybe even write it down where you can drop these. There are other facilities, of course. The local waste transfer centre will take a large amount of stuff, a long list of things for free. It nearly always depends on location. There can be slight nuances, etc. But certainly after Christmas, we get lots of calls from people asking about how to get rid of large amounts of cardboard. Nearly always the best option is just drop it off for free at the waste transfer centre, and they will take any amount of it, really. So there are options available. There are a lot of free options for a lot of items. We'll do future podcasts covering more of these, but these are three that I wanted to remind people about and make you aware of if you hadn't heard of them up to now. So we'll leave it there today. I think I wish all our listeners a great 2022. Get busy recycling, and we'll leave you with the slogan: recycle, don't be a waster.